I'm Dr. Rachel Burnett from Utah Natural Medicine, and I wanted to jump on here and talk a little bit about anxiety. Uh, if you aren't a menopausal woman or don't know of a woman who is menopausal or aren't affected by a woman who's menopausal, then you can maybe just move on and not care to listen to the rest of this video. But if you are, I wanted to talk a little bit about anxiety specifically and how it relates to menopause. And I think it's really appropriate for the times right now because there's a lot of fear and apprehension out there. And for a lot of people, for a lot of women, menopause is the first time they experience anxiety. So for anyone out there that is perimenopausal, that is, starting to notice some changes with their periods, anywhere it can happen, in mid 40s up to mid 50s, and there's a big range of the time of life when that happens. Anxiety is a really big part of it. Of course, we think a lot about hot flashes and night sweats too, that are a big part of menopause, but oftentimes it's anxiety that can be accompanied by insomnia too. And there are things we can do to learn a little bit more that are helpful. One of the things I think is maybe appropriate now is to talk to your mother if you're able to, and find out a little bit about what her experience was. I find that a lot of people, learn a lot about from their mother about how they went through menopause. Now, that's not necessarily to say you'll go through it the same way. Nobody knows how you'll go through it. It's one of the few, events in life that we really can't predict in terms of how it will happen for you. But that can be a helpful, I think, really conversation to help you understand a little bit more about yourself and a time to maybe connect with your mom. Tracking your menses as you're going through this time. I wanted to talk about this. I'll just step back for a second and say this is my passion. I've been in practice for over 15 years, seen thousands of women, and mostly menopausal women. I'd say my practice is centered on that, and I see a lot of women with anxiety, and so I just wanted to get on here and talk about that. But tracking your menses is another thing you can do that's helpful. I think it really gives you feedback about what's going on, and even if you've had a partial hysterectomy, looking, maybe when you're ovulating, maybe when that you're having breast tenderness, and that's something that you had usually had before when you were getting ready to have your period, and tracking those things can be really helpful. As a naturopathic physician, we really like to figure out what the underlying cause is, and with anxiety related to menopause, it certainly is related to the loss of one's hormones, and we want to treat the underlying cause. 5,000 years ago in traditional Chinese medicine, and that is part of my background as an acupuncturist, they talked about yin deficiency when they were talking about how a woman goes through menopause, and that's the constitution and what would happen. And part of that was palpitations. And we know that palpitations oftentimes go with anxiety. And the things we can do to nourish yin. So estrogen is yin, and estrogen is one of the main hormones that starts to really change and go up and down quite a bit in perimenopause, and then eventually goes away. So we lose yin, and yin is, we know about yin and yang and the balance of energy in life, really, and bringing up yin in the body is by doing things that are restorative. So focusing on restorative exercises, really prioritizing sleep is very important. And of course, there's a place for herbal medicine. Herbal medicine is a place that can really help the hormones work a little bit better. And then last but not least, using the natural bioidentical hormones. So it's really important if you're out there and you're perimenopausal, menopausal, and need some and have some anxiety, there is help for you out there. Really, there's a lot you can do that's not really masking the symptoms, but identifying and treating the underlying cause. So I wanted to reach out for this particular population of women out there during this difficult time. All the best.